Hello everyone, I'm Mike Watch. Today, let's talk with fellow watch enthusiasts about this new weighted version of the Go style Daytona released by VS Factory, featuring the Dandong for 131 movement. The biggest highlight of this model is that the entire watch head has been designed with added weight, achieving a total watch weight of around 138 grams. Now, let me measure its weight for you. First, let's zero the scale and take a look. 137.2. This weight difference of 1 or 2 grams likely comes from the length of the rubber strap. Other than that, there are no issues. If you consider, for example, Clean Factory's new Go style Daytona with the Dandong 4131. It weighs around 109 grams. This means this VS version is heavier by about 30 grams. Overall, when you wear it, you'll feel it's more comfortable with a more substantial, weighty feel. Because the genuine model is made of precious metal. The genuine precious metal version weighs around 150 plus grams. So, this VS version is about around 20 grams lighter. But compared to the Clean Factory version, the difference is about 50 grams. So it's quite noticeable. Therefore, if you are considering a precious metal style, a Daytona on a rubber strap, you should consider this weighted version from VS Factory. The Go style, the Gold on Oyster Flex, the Shaw Niue model, and the Little Monster are all available. I've also done a review on the Little Monster before, which you can check out. So, overall, why is there still a 20-gram weight difference compared to the genuine? The reason lies in the clasp. The clasp cannot be weighted. Therefore, the watch head itself is weighted to be the same as the genuine, around 98 grams. The watch head is the same, only the clasp is different, which accounts for the roughly 20-gram difference. This is unavoidable. Next, let's talk about the design details and craftsmanship of this model. As is customary, let's measure its dimensions and thickness with the calipers. For the Daytona, as I've mentioned before, including the older versions with the Dandong 4130 movement, the official data says the diameter is 40 mm, but its actual size is 38.5 mm. Let's measure it. See, 38.7 毫米. Now let's check the thickness. A thickness of 12 mm. Now they can all achieve around 12 mm. For the Dandong 4130 movement, it's about 12.2 mm or 12.1 mm. They are all very similar. Now let's talk about the overall texture and feel. For this Go style, you can really feel it. VS Factory's style color matching is getting better and better. The color of this style is incredibly close to that of Clean Factory, from a normal angle, with 2 spotlights on it, right? You can see the dial has a light grayish feel. But if you view it from an angle, you can see it's a gray surface with a sunburst pattern. This color matching is done quite well. You can take a look from this angle. Then the crystal is a standard configuration, a domed sapphire crystal. The bezel is a ceramic bezel. The main difference between the new and old versions lies here. Each ceramic bezel has a steel ring for protection, providing a protective effect. Because ceramic itself is a relatively brittle material, having this ring for protection makes it less prone to chipping against the table. Let's look at the overall texture and craftsmanship again. The engravings on the bezel are all filled with a platinum color powder. You don't need to worry about issues like oxidation or fading. And including this central hand stack, let's zoom in. Personally, I feel Clean Factory's hand stack isn't as well made as VS Factory's. You can get a feel for it. This is called the flower bud style hand stack. And the center is a solid design, shaped like a small cap. You can take a look at this hand stack. The crystal seems a bit dirty, let me wipe it. You can feel the difference. This hand stack is exceptionally well done. It's not hollow looking like some others. The center has a small dot. All the hand stacks, including the chronograph minute and our hands, the small seconds, and the main hands, all feature this solid, small cap design, including the dot in the center. This design, I personally think VS does this hand stack better than Clean. But regarding the crystal, if we look closely, it also has rounded edge polishing. However, this polishing doesn't look as refined as Clean Factory's. Clean's is polished to be rounder. When you touch it, you'll feel VS's is slightly a bit sharper. But it does have the rounded edge polishing, you can feel it. Yes, it's there. Then there's the anti-counterfeit laser edged coronet. At the 6 o'clock position, it's very hard to see. You can see a tiny bit from this angle. Right, from a direct angle or a 45-degree angle, under direct light, it's composed of 152 laser dots at this position. See? And it's very neatly done. If you can see it from any angle, then that's incorrect. That wouldn't be the anti-counterfeit small coronet. It's a very subtle design. Now let's feel the texture of the entire case assembly again. It uses 9 alpha L steel throughout, with tungsten steel material added inside to achieve the weighting effect. Yes, and all the edges have been given around the polish. You don't need to worry too much about VS Factory's details, because VS itself is a very old and established top-tier factory. You can feel the texture here, the edges are all rounded. And over here, it also has the step design. This end link is noticeably a step lower than the lugs. You can feel it with your hand, it has a step design. It's the same on this side, it's all been executed. Right, now for the strap, you can take a look from a distance. I must explain this strap clearly. This type of strap is made of fluoro-elastomer rubber. It has a slightly velvety feel, and it's a bit tacky, it noticeably attracts dust. This is how the correct strap should be. If it's very glossy, with a reflective effect, that's a very cheap, regular rubber strap. This one is fluoro-elastomer. It has an internal metal blade, with sweat-wicking grooves, and it's resistant to deformation, having a shape memory function. Yes, you can feel it. Right, you must be able to identify this type of strap. Then the clasp is a double-locking safety clasp. You can see the texture of the clasp. Open it ... Let's look inside. It doesn't have any weld spots. Right, it's a single-piece molded clasp. Now let's open the clasp and look at the engravings. The Rolex hallmark, the AU750 hallmark here, the St. Bernard head hallmark, right? They've all been replicated. And what's more, its engravings are deeper and more three-dimensional than Clean Factory's clasp. Right, you can see, it's a bit clearer. The clasp, the entire engraving, especially the St. Bernard head and the AU750 hallmark. They are a bit deeper, and also the Rolex hallmark here. And the new versions of the Gold style and Gold models on Oyster Flex all come with this easy-to-use micro-adjustment system. The older versions don't have this, only the new ones do. This easy micro-adjustment is more comfortable, and you don't need to deal with the troublesome 3-hole adjustment of the older versions. Then the case back is a solid case back design. The hallmarks are all there. This solid case back design, there isn't much to see. Right, lastly, let me explain how to adjust the time, and then I'll show you this Dandong for 131 movement. Many enthusiasts, upon receiving a chronograph, think, why isn't my seconds hand moving? Actually, that's not the case. The subdial at the 6 o'clock position is the independent small seconds hand, the traditional seconds hand. And this is the chronograph minute counter, and this is the hour counter. After you unscrew the pusher, press it. And the chronograph function starts. See that? Right, now we'll let it run, and first, let's talk about the central crown. This central crown is for adjusting the hands. After you unscrew it, this is for manual winding. Right, then you pull it out one stop, it directly adjusts the hands. Right, now date position, it adjusts smoothly. Then, as you push it in, rotate it upwards to tighten it securely. As long as you tighten this crown, taking it swimming or diving is no problem at all. You can feel the overall texture and craftsmanship again. After this chronograph seconds hand completes one rotation, the minute counter will move one increment. If you press the top pusher again to pause, it pauses. Then, after unscrewing the bottom one, press it again, and it resets. Right, press the top to start, stop, and press the bottom to reset. When not in use, just screw the pushers back down. Finally, let's take another look at this Dandong for 131 movement. This is the legendary Dandong 4131 movement. When fully wound, the power reserve can reach approximately 72 hours. You must take a screenshot of the movement architecture to compare, because for models like the Submariner, Daytona, and GMT Master, I strongly recommend you open the case back to look at the movement. For solid case back models, it's very difficult to distinguish the correct version just by looking at the external details. But if you take a screenshot to compare the movement, it's very easy to tell. Right, this Dandong for 131 movement's overall finishing, including the deep engraved text on top of the keys the Gen Lufa, is exceptionally well done. Yes, and currently, the factories using the Dandong 4131 are VS, Clean, and BTF. But I personally believe you can compare them. VS's engraving on this is deeper and more three-dimensional than Clean's or BTF's. Because when each factory receives this movement, it's a blank epoch. They need to find their own partner factories to do the engraving. You can see VS's engraving looks more refined. Yes, it's deeper and more three-dimensional. Right, like the engraving on the automatic rotor, including the Gold Gilt 4131 engraving here. It's all done with deep engraving techniques. The Rolex hallmark, the gears, and the balance wheel with its proprietary shock absorber are all visible. And including the blue Parachrome hairspring, let's find an angle to look. Right, see it, the blue Parachrome hairspring, and this balance bridge. I need to explain this. It's a genuinely functional balance bridge. When you press the pusher, you can see the column wheel, which controls the chronograph function, engage. Now let me unscrew this. When you press it, you can see the column wheel, which controls the chronograph function, engage. It's a component that controls the function. Let's press it. See, the entire integrated mechanism engages. Then if you press to stop, the central wheel moves a bit. Right, and then reset with the bottom pusher. The stability of this movement is completely comparable to an ETA 7750. The rate of return for repairs is extremely low. If you choose a chronograph with a 7750, I would tell you not to use the chrono function unless necessary. But for a movement like this Dandong 4130 or 4131, you can feel free to play with the function. I personally find it incredibly stable. You can take another look at the entire movement architecture, including some of the gears over here, right? The gold-colored gears. The reversing wheels. Let me wind it a bit for you. You can get a feel for it. Look over here, winding. See, all the gears are genuinely functional, a completely integrated movement. Finally, a wrist shot for you to get a feel. My wrist circumference is 16.5 centimeters. Wearing this 40mm Go style Daytona is no problem at all. It's perfectly manageable. You can get a feel for it. Yes, let me give you a final summary. If you are considering a precious metal Daytona, like the gold on Oyster Flex, the Gold Style, or the Little Monster, I personally recommend you go for the VS Factory weighted version. Because Clean Factory doesn't make a weighted version, so there will be a significant difference in weight. But with the weighted version, the difference is only about around 20 grams. Right, and in terms of details and craftsmanship, I don't think it's inferior to Clean's. If you are choosing a steel model, like the Panda or the black ceramic Daytona, then you can consider Clean Factory. The movements are the same, both are the Dandong 4131. So how do you differentiate whether a Daytona is from VS or Clean? I personally suggest you can always open the case back, look at the engine, checking the movement is the best way. Right, it's clear at a glance. You can take a screenshot and compare it, that works. Right, one more wrist shot for you to feel. From every angle, the effect of the grey dial is different. Okay, that's all I have to share with you today. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.